Browser Mirror is a simple tool to share your current browsing session with another person. It's a little like screen sharing, but with some differences that I think make it easier to use. Browser Mirror is a Firefox add-on. So if you're at the site, click on Install the add-on. It'll ask you for permission and take a moment here to install. And once you've installed it, one thing to look out for is that the button is often actually hidden. So go up to View, Toolbars, and Add-on bar, and you will see a Share button down at the bottom. To start sharing, hit that Share button. You'll see a sidebar open that will stay there the entire time to remind you that you're sharing. And a link is created, a random link that you would usually IM to a friend. For the purposes of this demonstration, we'll just open it up in another browser here. The person who's going to be following along doesn't have to have an add-on installed or be using any kind of special browser. They just need to visit the link that you give them, and they'll start seeing what you start seeing. One of the ways this is different from just giving URLs to another person, so that they're visiting the same page that you are visiting, is that they actually see the page the way you see it. For instance, if we go to GitHub here, they'll start seeing GitHub page, and we can sign in. And if the other person actually visited GitHub, they would not be signed in. But because they're viewing the same page that we're viewing, they get to see everything as we see it, as we are signed in. This works for any private or customized session or browsing experience. One way to use this is to help somebody else work through a web application. So we'll have the viewer click on admin. Now, one thing that might be kind of interesting here is that when you click on something, the click event actually gets sent back to the main browser, and everything happens on that side. So we can still both kind of interact with the page. So for instance, we can change a field here, or we might be able to show other things or work on a form together with another person. This is different than something like Google Docs or Etherpad that's specifically built for collaboration. This works on any website, and you can move between different websites as you're collaborating. In some ways, it's not as elegant as those because they are built with collaboration in mind, but it's a lot more general. Another case where I think this can be really useful is something like booking a flight. You often have to coordinate this with somebody else, or make sure all your times are the same, but you can't actually give them a URL or share much of anything with them directly until you purchase a flight, because everyone ends up seeing something slightly different when they go to the site. So as you see, we can go through here. As things are updated, even though the URL hasn't changed, the other person sees the updated site. And we can fill things in. Maybe we'll put in Minneapolis to Boston. And they see updates on the other side, though if you go fast enough, they might not see all the intermediate things that flash up on the screen. So we'll click on Search. You might notice sometimes it takes a little while for the viewer to catch up. And it looks here like something went. There are still definitely glitches that occur. In this case, I think we can probably fix it by reloading the viewer. I'll have to go back and figure out why exactly that happened. So it's still an experimental stage, but I think it has some utility right now, and I'm feeling very optimistic about what this could be used for. One thing that I hope we can add to it is more ways for people on both sides to communicate things about the page, to interact. You can currently chat back and forth, and there's some features that are temporarily disabled for pointing out parts of the page, but I'd like to increase that and make it kind of a nice smooth flow that can make use of the fact that you're sending entire pages and that browsers know how to deal with those pages back and forth instead of sending pixels and dealing with that less than perfect interaction. Thanks for watching.